Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Post podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, Chris Ronan. How are we doing tonight? You getting ready to leave us again?
Yeah, I got a flight in about 8 hours or so, right around there. Got to be at the airport tomorrow morning. Head down to Florida.
What a rough life you live.
I know.
Can't believe it.
It's tough being me.
That's why we're here on a Thursday. That's why we're trying to get it done. And, kind of jealous over there.
Yeah, quick turnaround. We did a Saturday recording last week and a Thursday one this week, so it might be not as much content as the listeners would like, but we got some stuff to talk about at least.
Yep, I want to go down a Vancouver Canucks breakdown to kind of go through why the hell they've been so bad this season, and kind of went down a little rabbit hole with that, along with a few NHL records being broken and some other cool stuff going on. So, you getting ready to kind of jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Signings. So, we'll start off with some signings here like we normally do. The St. Louis Blues signed right-wing Tyler Pitlick to a one-year, $750,000 contract. The Ottawa Senators signed center Mark Kastelic to a two-year, $835,000 contract extension. Also, we have a trade that just happened 45 minutes ago. Is the Boston Bruins traded forward Jack Studnicka to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for goalie Michael DiPietro and defenseman Jonathan Myrenberg. Anything that really stick out to you besides the... I feel like the Tyler Pitlick might have been the best move for the St. Louis Blues here.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign. I think Rem Pitlick is the better player, and that's kind of like why this one stood out as a signing.
Mm-hmm.
That Kastelic, though, is pretty good on the Ottawa Senators. Great forward depth. Really cool to see. I saw a cool highlight. I forget who it was against. I think it was against the Canadiens. He scored an awesome goal from like the low hash marks, like Rockstar Zone area. Just kind of threw a puck on net, hoping for a rebound, and it snuck through, scores a goal. But before like anyone even realizes that the puck's in the back of the net, one of the Canadiens players and him are already like dropping the gloves and fighting like the second after he released the shot. It was pretty funny. Cool little clip.
Yeah, so I mean, I got really nothing else to add. Just some signings that I think needed to be talked about here. I like the Kastelic, but I don't know. Vancouver Canucks just in general here need to make some kind of move before I jump into their breakdown here. And I guess this is a start for them. I guess I don't know.
No, it's kind of more prospects going out for someone that they think could be something, and maybe it's just the Bruins are too deep to put Studnicka into their roster. They've given him plenty of chances. He was drafted in the second round in 2017, so he's been in the league for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been up and down between the NHL and AHL. Collectively, he's played 38 NHL games, but hasn't stayed up for more than 20 games, not really producing much. I think personally this isn't anything against him, but it's a guy that, can't get into an NHL lineup yet. There's some kind of hump that he needs to get over to break in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year, 41 games in the AHL, 10 goals, 25 assists. That's not too bad, but he needs to really figure out what he needs to do to get to that next NHL level, and maybe getting in some time with the Vancouver Canucks is what he needs.
Yeah, yep, that's true. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens when the time comes. Actually, one more thing that we have, too, is the New York Islanders placed Kiefer Bellows on waivers this week, and literally the next day the Flyers picked him up. I liked Kiefer Bellows. He was good 2020, 2021. His stats really are just okay, but I think it's going to be a big pickup for the Flyers, who are on the way up,
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Flyers are doing really well out of the gate. I don't think Kiefer Bellows is a guy that's going to boost them any more than the next guy, but definitely good to add another player like that to the roster and, keep something else in the pipeline at the very least.
Mm-hmm. So before I do this breakdown, you want to talk two more actions over here, the Iron Man and Ovi? Want to get into those first?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So, the Iron Man. We have a new Iron Man this week, and that guy is Phil Kessel. He became the new NHL's Iron Man this week, playing 990 consecutive games. This comes as Kessel also recorded his 400th career goal in a 4-2 win against the San Jose Sharks. Brent Burns is the second active player and holds the 10th longest with 685 games currently. Other than Burns, Kessel will be sitting at number one spot for a long time. So, Kessel... It's not like Keith Yandel just sitting there for, a few months before Kessel coming in. This is like Kessel really taking it. And the fact that he's not stopping either, and that number's just going to keep going up, pretty impressive for Phil Kessel.
Yeah, Kessel still has time to play. I'm pretty sure this year he's only on a one-year contract, but I don't see him as a guy, no offense, like a Joe Thornton that or Zdeno Chara that can't get another contract at the end of this season. I think if anything, Kessel's going to sign somewhere and at least get another year. So he's going to keep adding to that total. And I also think Brent Burns is a guy that, as good as he is probably on the back nine of his career, probably sooner than Kessel. I could be wrong there, but I would say Brent Burns is out of the league before Kessel is. What do you think?
Wow, interesting. I think with the dedicated, you ever see like the training that Brent Burns does? I don't know. I feel like Brent Burns has still got a few more. I kind of don't want to say a few. I say like a good maybe 5 more years or so. That's my just opinion on it. But I don't know. You say I just talked about Brent Burns training where Phil Kessel's diet is for some reason just the way it is, and Kessel here is just like consecutive, like no end in sight with him, just like keep playing day in day out. So I don't know. I guess to each, everyone's different.
Yeah, I think that Phil Kessel is an enigma and an anomaly in the NHL community. Like just like you said, the regimen that he has, and like he's not exactly the most physically fit guy out there. But yeah, he's 2 years younger than Brent Burns, and I think that the production and what he's adding to these teams is what's going to keep him in. Like maybe this year can be the year that Brent Burns lights it up for the Carolina Hurricanes and he'll get another few contracts. But I just think that like Kessel is a hot commodity right now, and Brent Burns is, you still want him on the team, but I wouldn't say he's like one of the hot commodities of the league. Like, and I think that's partially due to the fact that he was on the San Jose Sharks when they were doing very poorly, But I mean, Kessel was on the Coyotes when they were doing very poorly, but I think he was the bright spot on their team.
Oh yeah, yeah. He led the Arizona last year with 55 assists, so he was still getting shit done. So
yeah,
again, two good players on two different teams. I would say better teams, both for Phil and Brent Burns. So hopefully they can get their stats up. You know how like you could play with like better players and like it just for some reason just makes it so much simpler and your stats gonna go up, or you just play better just in general. So good on Phil. I hope it just keeps going and going and going, because his story is just insane. Like you were just showing me some spit and chiclet stuff where just like the soda in the room and everything, and he wanted to get weighed in. I'm like, good God, man! Like this, just like the Babe Ruth, just a diet, But one more thing that I want to talk about too is Alexander Ovechkin. We were talking about. I just talked about some NHL records being passed, and Ovi is not shy of that. Ovechkin passed Gordie Howe in most game-winning goals with 122 to put him second all-time. Jaromir Jagr sits in first with 135, so he's going to get really close to that. The closest active player in the league next to Ovechkin, ironically, is Jeff Carter, who's tied for 16th all-time with 86. Some more Ovechkin records, if anyone wants to know. First all-time in power play goals with 287. Third all-time in goals with 783. And sixth all-time in scoring 3 or more goals a game with 28 times in his career. That is nuts.
Ovechkin.
Yeah, I like that.
Remember that back in the day?
Oh, my God, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Dude, Ovi just... unbelievable. Can't stop him. Won't stop him.
Yeah, 13 game winners. That might be a tall ask. He's definitely going to get close, but I don't know if he'll get over that hump. He's got to be the guy to get the game-winning goal 13 more times to tie Jagr.
All it takes is, say you got like it's a 1-1 game and you score the second goal in like the second, and that's what wins the game. That's all you need. Yeah,
but think about it, right? Even if you're on a good team, a winning team that gets 100 points out of the NHL season, let's call that 50 wins out of 82.
Yep.
That's only 50 game-winning goals that you can make.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to win how many of those is going to be Ovi out of the 12 forwards and the 6D that are on the ice, So, and that's if you're on a winning team, and I don't think the Washington Capitals this season are going to be, a winning team over 500. So you're looking at 41 or less, and then who's going to score the game winners? So
good point.
I don't know. I think it's a tough one. It's a bit of a hard ask, but I think he's not done after this year. So maybe in the next 2 or 3 he'll get there.
No.
He does want to pass that other record that Gretzky's sitting at. So maybe that's option number 2 for him.
I'd be curious what he actually looks at. I feel like a lot of these players, like the high players, I don't think they really pay attention to stats like that. I'm sure like someone told Ovi and be like, hey, just pass Gordie Howe with this, and he's like, oh, okay.
No, I really don't think anyone's telling him about those minor stats, and I think it's something that maybe he looks at in the offseason and says like, oh, I'm only this far away from that guy. It's not night in, night out, like I got to get points. It's really about winning as a team, I think, for these guys.
Exactly. and just sit in Ovi's office there, you know?
Mm.
All right, so let's get into the Vancouver Canucks breakdown here. I pretty much just wrote what I found, and I was going to do it in, like, bullet points, but I pretty much have a story to tell with this, so I'm just going to read it verbatim. So the Vancouver Canucks have been an atrocity this season so far, and they currently are playing the Vancouver Canucks versus the Seattle Kraken. And before we do that, that's going to be a post pick. So who's going to win tonight? And I'm going to have you pick first. Who do you got? Vancouver Canucks finally getting their first win, or the Seattle Kraken taking it?
So I'm going to be a big-time pessimist here. I think the Seattle Kraken have surprised a few people this season, and they're getting those young guys up in the roster, up and running.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that the Canucks are not going to get their win tonight, and I'm going to extend my pick and say they will not get a win until next week. At the earliest, they'll win Sunday if they play that day. I think they're not going to win over the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Well, I'm gonna go complete opposite and say Canucks. Tonight's gonna be the night the Canucks are gonna take it.
Cool.
We'll see what happens. We still got time. Although I'll be editing this and be like, ooh, I wonder who's right. But yeah, let's
just to back my point a little bit. It's 10:31 here on Thursday. They're playing. First period, 8:33 left in the game. The Canucks are up. I'm sorry, 8:33 left in the period. The Canucks are up 1-0.
Ooh.
So I think they are not going to win because
They're
the
up.
Canucks are the first team to blow multi-goal leads 4 games in a row and lose, and that was to start this NHL season off.
Mm-hmm.
So they've had the lead in their first 4 games and lost it every time.
Right.
Multi-goal too. They're up by 2 at least. Crazy.
All right. So let's jump into this craziness right now because I really wanted to kind of deep dive into this. So this is the Vancouver Canucks breakdown as of October 25th, 2022. They currently sit dead last in the league with a 0-5-2 record. The 2 overtime losses came from playing away against the Blue Jackets and the Wild, which are both 4-3 finals and the game right after the last. They are currently riddled with 7 injuries. Phil DeGiuseppe, right? Oh, God. Travis Dermott, Tucker Pullman, Quinn Hughes, Riley Stillman, Brock Besser, and Curtis Lazar. The first 2 lines are the only offensive lines that are doing anything for this Canucks team. JT Miller, Bo Horvat, Connor Garland, and Elias Pettersson are most notable between the 2 lines. Pettersson so far with 3 goals and 4 assists. Miller, 4 goals and 1 assist. Horvat, 4 goals and 2 assists. And Connor Garland, 2 goals. Andrei Kuzmenko deserves a mention. He seems to be at the right place at the right time, making room to get a solid shot opportunities, and has quite hit the mark yet. He's currently 1 goal and 1 assist in 7 games played with a team worst -6. Goaltending-wise, I stick with my guns here with Thatcher Demko. He's a solid goalie. The scores would have been so much worse if it wasn't him between the pipes. He's had a few that he should have had, but for the most part, the goals against were mostly solid redirects or odd man chances that he didn't have a shot in hell stopping, along with a few crazy bounces as well. In 6 games played, he's faced 187 shots, which is tied for second most in the league, allowing 24 goals of those shots, which is first in the league in time on ice with 354 minutes and 49 seconds. So he's been on the ice a lot longer than most goalies in the NHL currently right now.
And 2 overtime games will do that.
Yep. Spencer Martin, his backup, gave Demko a night off against the Columbus Blue Jackets, where he helped take the Canucks to OT, where they would lose 4-3 off a defensive mistake by the Canucks, which gave up a 2-on-1 opportunity. It was only 1 game, but his first NHL start since April 29th of last season, and was pretty solid given the situation. To really sum this up, they're lacking mostly defense. They sit dead last in team penalty kills with 55.6%, and they are too reliant on the top 2 offensive lines to get anything done. They rank 26th in the league for their power play, with a 13% chance at a successful one. Last season, they ranked 9th best with a 23.5%. They're 5th least in goals with only 18, and 2nd worst in the league in goals against with 30. Their biggest mistake was not making any trades and moves this past offseason, where they just stayed very complacent where they were. They picked up Mikheyev from the Maple Leafs and Curtis Lazar from the Bruins. Lazar is currently injured, and Mikheyev is off to a slow start from his career-high 21-goal season last season. They constantly start the game strong and will go up 1 to 2 goals, and then in the second and third periods, they will just collapse. This team needs a type of rebuild, not what Chicago is doing, but like third and fourth offensive lines, defenseman changes, and actual draft picks. So I want to talk about the draft picks here. The Canucks draft history hasn't had a first-round pick since 2019, where they picked up Vasily Podkolzin, who went 10th overall. They had 5 selections in the 2020 draft, with none higher than the third round. In 2021, they didn't have a draft higher than the 6th round, and in 2022, they had 1 first-round pick, which was Jonathan Lekkermiaki, and didn't pick again until the third round, which was Elias Pettersson. This team was dead last in the Pacific last year until they fired GM Jim Benning and head coach Travis Green. When GM Patrick Allvin was hired in January 2022, they were 7th in the Pacific with an 18-19-5 record. By the time Bruce Boudreau was hired in December, they dropped to 8th in the Pacific, but in 17 games, Boudreau helped them with a 10-4-3 record, which helped shoot them up to 5th place in the Pacific to finish off the season last season. I am just shocked, more so shocked about the draft when I was figuring out the drafts here, where just 2019, they have nothing, and you're kind of seeing it with this team right now. Just very
well. They had a first round pick this year, you said, so that's good.
That's good, but when you're watching these games, man, you're just like they'll start beautifully. They started beautifully against the Edmonton Oilers, their first regular season game this season. I think they were up 2-0, and they played really well against the Edmonton Oilers. And then just like the rest of these games, second and third periods, I don't know what happened. They just they shit the bed. And the more you watch these games, again, what I'm saying, these top 2 lines are the only guys trying to produce. And it's just the bottom lines here. Just I don't know what the hell's going on. They're missing the talent. They're missing the guys. They have the 7 guys out injured right now. Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, huge. Tucker Pullman, Travis Dermott. It just I don't know. They need some kind of rebuild. They need to start something soon. Bad.
So I don't necessarily think they need to rebuild. I think that as good as Bruce Boudreau was, to get back, get a new face in the locker room and get the team going, I don't think that he's a coach that can. How do I explain it? I don't think he's a guy. He's a driver. He's not motivating these players correctly. He relies on his players to self-motivate and to motivate each other. The motivation isn't coming down from him, I don't think. Mm-hmm. Point number 2, I think, is the injuries. Quinn Hughes is pretty big to be missing. He's a great defenseman for that team. And Brock Besser as well, having him out is pretty tough too. The other 5, not really that big of a deal, but having 5 guys down, that's really tough. Mm-hmm. Travis Dermott is a third-pair defenseman, as he wrote here. But, if you're missing 2 defensemen there, maybe they're suiting up 5D instead of 6, kind of like in men's league, when they have X amount of guys coming up. I did find an awesome article from Sportsnet. Hopefully we can have the link down here for you guys too. I'll send it along to you. But they have 3 main reasons why the Canucks have been just sucking lately. First thing that they put here is turnovers and chances allowed off the rush. So it says here, when protecting a lead, teams tend to play it safe to minimize the risk, but not the Canucks. They have 6.2 rush chances against per 60 minutes when leading, which is basically there's 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, those kind of offensive zone rushes into their own end. They have 6 of those per game when leading. And that ranks them 27th in the league, which is among the worst. And all of the goals that have been allowed to blow leads have been off of an offensive zone turnover that turned into a breakout rush goal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Point number 2, which I think is the biggest one, is penalty killing. That is a friggin' joke. 55.6%. Half the time that you're out there killing a penalty, you don't get the job done. Yep. That's insane, and that should be the main focus of the team in practice for, every day in between games. If that's how bad we are, and that's how you're eventually losing games, especially in a game 4-3, overtime loss, those kind of games when it's a 1-goal swing, you get one more successful penalty kill, and now the game's going in an entire different direction. Yep. So I think that's something that they should definitely be focusing on at practice, like number one. And then the third thing that they write here is goaltending, which I think was the biggest thing to me. Yes, Demko was a good goaltender, but I'm not cutting him any slack here. His stats are absolutely atrocious this season. The team is bad in front of him, yes, but that's not the only reason that they're playing poorly. Thatcher Demko has a 4.06 GAA and a .872 save percentage. I put a lot of the blame on him, personally. I think that when the going gets tough, the tough need to get going. And if Demko's that good of a goalie, he needs to come up with one or two of those goals and turn that 4-3 into a 3-2, because if the team focuses on the penalty kill and you're taking a goal off the board there, and Demko can come up with one of those saves that, we both think that he should be able to make, now it's a 3-2,
All right.
And that's a win. Something that they can't get this season, apparently.
Right. Just maybe tonight. But I want to go back to your penalty kill. Go back and just watch the highlights and just find them on the penalty kill. They have the 4-man box formation, and there's been so many times where the top guy, for some reason, is following the guy down to, like, the crease, and just, like, there's two guys on one, and you're like, what the hell is going on? At one point, they're just all over the place, and you're like, where's the formation? Like, what's going on? They looked so bad. It's unbelievable. And I was talking about the Spencer Martin, that overtime goal. It got turnover on their offensive side, and instead of, I can't remember who the player was, but he was coming up to, like, they're on the right side of the ice, and the player was coming up to the left. Instead of hustling back to play defense, for some reason, he turned around, and there was two Vancouver Canucks on the one guy with the puck, where he passed it up, and then here was a 2-on-1, and that's how the game ended. I'm like, why is your mentality to go after that puck when it's a 3-on-3 overtime? You need to get back there and play defense. It just defensive. Go back and just watch them defensively. They look so fucking bad. There's like again, like on my Instagram, I was just talking about just watching these highlights and just looking up like their plays and stuff. I was screaming at like my computer and like my phone, be like, why? Like, why are you doing this? They look so bad, so bad, and it's unfortunate that like their offensive guys, like the top two, like, are just having a hard time just in general trying to score. And it's not them. They're getting the chances. They're trying to get it done, but they kind of run through some like hot goalies or some just good defense where they just can't get the puck by, And I don't know. It's not looking good for the Vancouver Canucks. They need to change something. Again, I didn't talk about full rebuild like Chicago Blackhawks. I'm just saying like they need to stop making big changes, or it's gonna be bad. And like the fact that I was just saying like they were just as bad last season too. So to come back this season and still be this bad, and this is as we're talking about their offseason where they didn't make any fucking trades whatsoever, try to make any moves. You're like, how are you complacent with a team like that? And this is kind of what you get. And it doesn't help with those does not help at all, like what you said with those 7 injuries. Those are 7 big injuries, and it's hurting the team a lot.
Yeah, I think the Canucks head coach Bruce Boudreau had a good quote too. He said that the team is, quote, afraid to win and mentally weak. And I think the mentally weak thing is a very important thing to note here, because if a coach can see that in his team and doesn't address it, on the ice, at practice, in the locker room, and has to go to the media to like attempt to light a fire under their ass, like this just seems like it's like lighting the mast on fire as the ship goes down, Mm-hmm. And I think when a team's afraid to win, it makes them even more afraid to lose, and that's why their penalty kill's been that bad. They pack it in, they're not playing their penalty kill proper. They're just so scared to let that goal in, blow this lead. Like, it's almost like feeling cursed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They also had some other good quotes here too, if you want. Bo Horvat said this was in response to basically how bad they've been and fans being fed up with them. He said, it's been a lot of years in the rebuild stage. At this point in the season, it just feels like it's never going to happen, like we're never going to win again. That's kind of insane. It kind of reminds me like the Miles Wood quote from a game into the Devil season. Mm-hmm. He also goes on to say that, quote, my jersey got thrown on the ice last year, and I'll never forget that for as long as I play. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's insane. Like, and the weird thing to me was his own teammate has a different opinion on like the same situation of Canucks fans throwing the jerseys on the ice. JT Miller says, if they want to throw their shit on the ice, it's up to them. I've got a job to do. I'm not worrying about if people want to come to the game, pay all that money, and throw their jersey on the ice. Go ahead. So for one of the leaders on the team to come out and say something like that, like, it almost says to me that, like, he wants out of this city and out of this team. And, like, I don't give a fuck. You can hate me if you want. But at the end of the day, like, you can hate JT Miller for saying this too, but it's the fan that you should really hate. Like, I don't think there's ever a point where you should be throwing a jersey on the ice. Like, come on now.
No, not at all. Like, that's just...
And I would take it to heart the way that Bo Horvat did personally. Like, the fact that his jersey was the one that's on the ice a couple years ago, last year, whatever, but something that he'll never forget. Like, that's kind of crazy.
And I don't know, man. Like, they're just on a bad losing streak, too. Like, I'm sure it's just a deflating feeling. I'm sure it's an absolute deflating feeling to come to, like, that rinks, like, away and home. They played mostly away, by the way. So it's just deflating to, like, go to, like, another city and just, like, sit there, get ready, and just have that just kind of depressing mentality. It's like, dude, we haven't won a game yet. Let's try to do something. And then they finish the game with just another loss, you know?
Personally, for me, I mean, every person's different. They think about things differently, but that's, like, such a motivator and a driver to me. Like, if we haven't lost in that many games, each time I go in there, I'm not going in depressed and thinking, like, oh, fuck, like, we're just going to fucking lose again. You need to go in with that, like, positive mentality. Like, enough's enough. We need to snap this. Like, tonight's the night. Let's go get our win.
Right.
But you're seeing all these tensions start to boil over, even on the ice after one of the losses. I believe it's Luke Shen skating up to JT Miller, like, after the game, like, as they're getting off the ice, like, something that can wait until the locker room, but he's making a scene on the ice, like, basically yelling at him. And good for Connor Garland, a new face to that team coming over from Arizona, stepping in between them and kind of, like, separating them with a body without making it obvious that, like, that's what he's doing. He tried to, like, downplay the situation a little bit, but it's just nuts to see that be brought up, you know, on the ice in front of 17,000 people to watch, and all the quotes that are coming out, all the shit going on. Like, at the end of the day, I think you're going to see a big name get traded away for something, and you're going to see a change in upper management. And I think Bruce Boudreau is one of the first guys, which is nuts because of how positive everyone was about him last season.
Yeah, that's what seems to be the case, too, with these NHL teams, as we were talking about last season, where a team is just having, like, a bad go. And their first thought is like, well, it's got to be the coach, and they just get rid of the coach.
I think it's just been like something that's proven to work around the league. You get rid of the coach and you bring in a new voice. Like, it usually ends up very well, right? Like, I feel like most new coaches come in and do well. I think the shelf life of coaches is very short, and they definitely are the first ones to blame. But the market is just that readily available. Like, if they fire Bruce Boudreau, guess what? There's 16 other teams with a losing record that are going to hire him.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep. And isn't Barry Trotz, like, not coaching this season?
He's taking the season off. He said he wants to rest and relax, enjoy retirement.
Imagine that.
He's not going there. He's fucking out. He had something on a silver platter, whatever contract he wanted, whatever team he wanted to go to, basically. He said, no, I'm kicking it. So I hope he comes back next year, but I also can see him, you know, fading off into the sunset, because I think that he's one of the older style coaches, you know?
I think he's done. He's ready to retire. But, yeah, man, something's gonna change. I kind of want to stick on to. Do you have any update on the Seattle game right now? Are they still up 1-0?
I can take a look. I imagine that the score is pretty close, but pretty much the same, because it was heading into the second period shortly. It is 2-1, Kraken, end of the first. Yeah.
Just to really solidify what the hell we're talking about, you know, just Amber Heard shitting on the bed, you know.
Jesus Christ. Moving on.
But I don't know. That's like the deep dive I did with the Vancouver Canucks, and there's no. I guess that gives some kind of examples or reasons why they're doing so bad, but I think it's just like an all around. You can't really focus on one thing. I think it's just an all around type of thing. It's coach. It's offense, it's offense, it's defense, it's goaltending, it's fucking everything. Just all kind of falling apart at the seams, you know. But ready to move on from this Vancouver Canucks stuff, because I was just saying, like, the more I've been deep diving into this, the more like depressed I've been getting. I was like, oh god, now I know what the fuck it feels like to be a Canucks fan.
But moving over to a team that's impressing everyone with the start of their season, the Buffalo Sabres, surprisingly. Rasmus Dahlin is the talk of this team right now, the first defenseman in NHL history to score in 5 straight games to start a season. He also set a new franchise record for consecutive games with a goal by a defenseman, passing Phil Housley's 4-game run back in 1988. He also tied the Sabres' overall franchise record for consecutive games with a goal to start a season at 5, tying Gilbert Perreault from 1979 and Thomas Vanek from 2008. This is his 5th NHL season, all with the Sabres, coming off a career-high 13 goals and 40 assists last season. The 40 assists was team best, and the 13 goals was 5th on the team.
Rasmus Dahlin, buddy, he is on flames. Kind of want to see him just keep going, ride the wave like he did last year. And hopefully he can help as a defenseman, too. Help Buffalo Sabres kind of climb up that ladder.
Yeah, I think Jeff Skinner tonight, actually, maybe it was tonight or last night, finally got the monkey off his back. He scored his first of the season, I want to say.
Nice.
And he is another guy that the spotlight had been on last year about not getting enough production for what they traded away or what they're paying him, etc.
Yep.
Alex Tuch has slotted in quite nicely on this team, too.
Yes, he has.
Definitely looks like an all-star. I like that player a lot. I thought that was a kind of interesting trade, the way that you see Jack Eichel and Alex Tuch, similar skill set, 1-for-1 kind of,
Yep. We did a Buffalo Sabres talk last episode, and dumb me totally forgot to say Craig Anderson. He has been rock solid.
Yeah, but I think Eric Comrie's the real story here. He's definitely the starter, and he is earning wins left and right over Craig Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
It is impressive what Anderson's done, don't get me wrong, but a guy like Eric Comrie that's coming from a team where he's a backup but really could be a third-string guy, I think shout out to him for sure.
Right, 100%. But it's good to have that kind of tandem, both guys really getting the job done for a team that's on the rise. I really want to see a different Buffalo Sabres team this season, and it's looking good in my eyes. We're seeing a different Ottawa Senators team, as we've been talking about.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we're recording tonight, October 27th, and it's actually one of the games that I am supposed to be watching, so I'm going to rewatch the entire thing probably next week before I get back to record next week's episode. So I'll have a dive on that next week. We're not going to spoil the score for anyone right now, if that's cool. And I'll have something on them next week.
Nice. So stick on the Senators. Their goalie Magnus Hellberg became the first. This is a weird stat. Became the first goalie in NHL history to earn his first 3 wins with 3 different teams. October 24th with the Ottawa Senators, April 29th with the Red Wings, and April 9th with the Rangers. I think he's only played 4 games in total in the NHL, and this spans 3 different seasons, I believe. Am I right?
Definitely a weird NHL stat here. He's played 6 NHL games.
6.
The most he's played in a season is 2 for the Rangers in 2016-17. He got 1 win with the Rangers then. He played in 2013-14 with the Predators, 1 game, did not get a win. He got a second win last year with Detroit, played 1 game, and his 3rd win this season with the Ottawa Senators. Played 1 game so far.
That's
3-3 over his career.
Yep.
And definitely kind of weird to see.
Kind of a weird stat. I feel like first in the NHL, I feel like we probably could have seen that before, maybe.
I don't know. I think back in the day, trades didn't happen as often as they do now. I think that getting specifically 1 win with 3 different teams is kind of crazy, because you would either have to be traded twice in 1 season and get 1 win between the 3 trades, or get a win, only play 1 game for 2 clubs in 1 season and then get a win the next season with a 3rd club.
Right.
It's such a wonky thing to do, especially where it's his first 3 wins too. First 3 wins. It's weird.
That's weird. He's got a 6 setup though. Magnus Hellberg. Oh yeah, all for it. But let's move on here to something also interesting here. So we now have personalized goal songs. This actually dates back to 2020, which I don't think we talked about, or I totally forgot we talked about. But the Winnipeg Jets players can now pick goal songs. They joined the Florida Panthers this season. Last season, Buffalo introduced it following the San Jose Sharks and Washington Capitals back in 2020. One thing that I read, Sam Garnier said his choice was Mr. Brightside by the Killers. Is this? What's your thoughts on this? I feel like it's 50-50 with fans.
I think a lot of fans hate it and a lot of fans like it, and I think that's because it's confusing to the casual fan who like they've gone to the like let's use the Bruins for example, and the Blackhawks for example too. You go to the game the past X amount of years, they've always used that same song that they use. You know what I mean? Like I forget which one the Bruins use, but the fucking the Blackhawks always use that like yeah. So that song always plays when someone scores, and now they're like, oh, this is weird. They're playing a different song every time someone scores, you know? And then you're also playing, like, if someone gets a hat trick, you're playing the same song 3 times. You know, like, it's kind of weird. Like, I think it's good. I think it's unique. It's interesting. It gives the players a way to, you know, be a person a little bit. It reminds me of baseball when you get, like, the walk-up song. Like, the guy with the pitcher for the Mets, the closer that comes out to the Timmy Trumpet song. Yeah. Those are, I think some of those are really cool. Some are okay. I don't know. I think picking Mr. Brightside is a pretty lame one.
I feel like there's going to be a bunch of
It's like a safety ants, you know?
Yeah.
Safety answer.
I don't know. This is weird for especially hockey. Like I just don't get it. Like that you did a good baseball thing where it's like the walk up to like the
plate, or to the mound if you're pitching.
That's fine, but for a hockey player to goal, like
I think it's kind of cool.
You think it's cool?
I do. I'm for it. I mean, what I would like to see would be like, I don't want to see every team do it, right? I think it's cool for new teams. Seattle should do it. Vegas should do it. Teams that are struggling should do it. Like, I think if you're like one of the worst in the league, like Arizona, it gives you, you know, something for your fans to like about you as a person and, you know, a reason to come to the games, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's just something.
It is.
It's not really anything.
I don't know why I've never noticed it. I kind of want to go back and see, like, because we were just talking about the Sharks and the Capitals back in 2020. We're doing it, and I never noticed any like different songs.
Well, that's because you'd have to be at the game to really appreciate it. Because on TV, it's the goal horn and then the audio cuts from the arena. The fans kind of cheer a little bit, and then you hear the announcer talking, and then like in the background, you barely hear like speakers of like what a song might be. You know.
That makes sense.
There's only the ones that stand out of the teams that like they have their one song that they play every time they score. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense now that you say that. So interesting.
But yeah, I do think it's more of a thing that you notice at the arena because even when you watch baseball, you never usually see walk-up song. You know.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think part of that has to do with the media broadcast team not wanting to pay for all of those songs because you have to have the media rights to have them too.
I didn't think about that.
So like if the player's walking up to the plate and they don't have that song, like.
They're going to start talking over it.
And so they'll just cut that audio and use something else.
Oof.
Could be. That's just my guess, but.
Damn. Okay, yeah, I guess, because you're right with the NHL. I don't know. It's some weird shit going on. I just don't understand copyright whatsoever. Like, for the Mic'd Up episodes, I did a new intro with the song that I couldn't find if it was copywritten or not, and I threw it in there, and it's like a 10-second clip, not even. And I was like, I should be fine. 10 seconds, and I got copyright. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
They know. That's how copywriting works.
Yep.
They'll find it. They'll dig. They don't want you making money off of it.
I thought like you could do like 5 or 10 seconds, and they'd be like, it's not long enough to care.
No.
If it's just like a little clip, they'd be like,
yeah, that's my song.
Do be like that. But one of the last things we want to talk about tonight, it's actually pretty quick. Hockey cards. You like to collect hockey cards?
I fucking love hockey cards, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. 7-year-old Winston Martin from the I'm just gonna take my time with this. Opaskwayak Cree Nation in Manitoba, Canada, said he was being bullied while waiting for the bus earlier this month, and his hockey card collection was stolen. His grandmother Carlene took to social media and asked if people could donate some cards to help rebuild Winston's collection. She said the response was instant. People from the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, which is northern Canada, Vancouver, and even the United States were messaging her and sending her hockey cards. Winston's favorite team is the St. Louis Blues. I would love to promote where you could send some cards, but the information is now either hidden or not given out. I was looking for Saul like 10 to 15 minutes before we even started recording. I just couldn't find it. I was finding comments on the Facebook saying people asking, just like, where can I send the cards or where can I send like stuff? And all you could see is the next comment saying "Thank you so much." So I think the comments are just deleted. I think maybe they're getting a lot of people just sending stuff, and they're just like, "Yeah, I'm kind of dumb." But it's actually cool. Like his collection's huge. There's a photo of it, and it's like a big table, bunch of hockey cards. So it's awesome to see a community come together and just like help this kid out. You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some digging too. If I can find one, I'm gonna ship him probably one of my St. Louis Blues cards since that's his favorite team.
Hell yeah!
Pick one out and send it.
So if I'm gonna do more research because Sunday night I usually edit the podcast here before we put it out Monday. So I'm gonna do a little more research, see if I can find something with like maybe I don't know, like a PO box or something that you could send it to, and I'll put it in the description for everyone for Spotify and Apple, and I'll put it on the screen down below in the editing for everyone watching. So that'd be cool. Like I kind of want to maybe buy a few packs or whatever and send it to him if I could find it. So I'll help this kid out.
Yeah, that'd be cool too, especially where it's packed, something fun for him to open rather than like here's a specific card. But yeah,
exactly,
it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So what you got going over there? Buddy?
Not too much. Not too much.
Just trying to find. Kind of ran low this week. You were just talking about that before we even started recording. You're just like, not much going on this week, but I feel like we had.
Oh, we recorded on a Saturday, Matt, and now it's Thursday, so it's 2 less days of content for us in between.
You're right, because here we are 40 minutes in, but it's all right. It is what it is. You ready for Florida?
I am, yeah. I'm going to have a really good time. Got an early flight tomorrow. Get on the plane, get off the plane, have some fun.
So how long are you going to be staying there for?
So we fly in Friday. We go to the game Saturday, and we fly out Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Quick in and out.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. What part of Florida again?
Jacksonville. For the Florida Gators versus the Georgia Bulldogs.
How much were the tickets?
Georgia Bulldogs are number 1 in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Trips all through work.
That's...
Yeah.
So, your work still hiring?
Yeah, I told you. Come on down.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Come on down, dude. Put my name on your resume.
If I can get tickets to the Jacksonville, Florida for some college football, I'd definitely go.
Yeah.
You know? Actually, while you're talking about that, I wasn't going to talk about it at all, but ASU for the Arizona Coyotes, I put it up on here. I guess I think it's 40 or 60 tickets.
I saw 200 to 400 fans, college kids, can buy tickets for $25.
That's it.
So they're setting aside 200 to 400 of the 5,000 seats and selling them to ASU at a discounted rate, and the students can pay $25 to get in. I think it's awesome. It lets new fans, people that don't know much about hockey, like get in for cheap and go check it out. And my college, when I was going to school around here, did kind of a similar thing with the Red Sox and the Bruins. Like randomly, you could buy tickets for pretty cheap. So I think it's cool to grow a fan base and to show people, hey, you're going to school here. This is what we have,
Right, exactly. I've already been talking this up too, because weren't we just talking? This is a while ago. We were just talking about ASU, and it's a 4-hour trip, I think, from ASU to Vegas.
Yeah,
I think we were just talking about that, and I brought it up to like a good 5-10 guys that I work with, and it's like, why would you want to do that? And a lot of them didn't know they were playing in ASU this season. I was like, think about this. All right, ASU, go to like a Arizona Coyotes game. It could be Arizona versus the Boston Bruins. Go there, watch the game, have a great time in like this small rink, and then drive 4 hours to Vegas and maybe catch a Vegas Golden Knights game and check out Vegas too. And he goes, I had 5 guys that I work with. It's not even set in stone. I just thought it'd be a cool idea. I had 5 guys like in on it. Like they were just like checking out plane tickets and everything.
Yeah.
They're all in. I was just like, dude, I don't even know if I can even afford it right now.
Yeah.
So, but it does sound like a
The only downside, I think, is that they're one of the most expensive arenas to see a game at because they have so many few seats. They only have 5,000 tickets, and now they're taking 400 for the students, so it's really 4,600.
Right.
Then you have season ticket holders, and now it's X amount. So, but I do think it's definitely a good way to get a couple arenas checked off the list.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like especially this one. This is gonna be a hot commodity. I think this game too. I think they're gonna be making money. Is Arizona going to be making the money, or is it just going to go straight to, like, ASU?
I think it's split. I'm not 100% on the actual profits, but I remember the game schedules and things like that. There were a lot of, like, logistics behind it, so.
Interesting.
Yep.
But
I imagine maybe Arizona gets the ticket sales, and then they get all the concession sales, so ASU must be fucking raking it in. It's your $12, 24-ounce beer.
This is going to be an interesting year. They still haven't played a home game yet, have they?
They might not have. I'm not 100% on that one.
I'm still waiting. I think I I think they have like their first 8-9 games. I think are away currently for the Arizona Coyotes. I think we're doing the team breakdowns. We're just talking about how difficult that could be for the Arizona Coyotes trying to come back. So I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, it's okay. I think their record doesn't show that it's been difficult, though, which is surprising.
Yeah.
I almost expected them to be in the Vancouver Canucks seat and just go winless for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
They have yet to play a home game.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is actually tomorrow at 10:30.
Whoa, there we go.
They're in Columbus now, Ohio. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They were in Columbus Tuesday,
Yep.
and now a couple days off, and they're back home for their first one. They actually have 4 in a row, 4 home games in a row coming up after a 6-game road trip.
That's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. And they went 2-4 on the road,
That's not bad.
opening up the arena against the Winnipeg Jets.
That's not bad for the Arizona Coyotes, getting 2 wins out of that.
Yeah.
Especially
They beat
starting
the
away.
Blue Jackets and the Maple Leafs.
Wow.
The Maple Leafs are another team that have been surprising me in a poor way.
Yeah, bad. Aren't they like one of the worst right now?
They are because of their division. Their
Mhm.
record is... All right, give me a minute on the record. I thought that was it right there, but it wasn't.
I got the app.
Yeah, they're surprising people in a bad way. Austin Matthews is on my fantasy team. Only had 1 goal in the season so far. They're asking really tough questions on the media. They're asking Mitch Marner, like, oh, are you worried about Austin Matthews? Are you, like, playing differently because he hasn't gotten that goal yet? Like, it's kind of just shitty questions to ask a guy. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
You serious?
Right.
It's classic.
Toronto. Yeah, so they're 4-3. They're currently 5th in the Atlantic.
It's crazy, isn't it, to have a winning record and be 5th and outside of the playoffs?
Right.
So-
We were just talking about the Boston Bruins before this. It's insane. They're 7-1, first in the Atlantic. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, definitely not the team I expected to come out of the gates hot like this,
No.
especially with all the injuries. Brad Marchand back tonight. I believe he scored in his first game back, too. So.
Yep. And go back to the Buffalo, too. They're 3rd here, and then Ottawa's 4th. It's kind of weird. I kind of want to go back and so what I've been doing is what I want to do, especially this season, I want to screenshot like what the divisions and league looks like, and like the just what the teams look like just in general for each month, so that like at the end of the season we could kind of pinpoint each month to month like what they look like if a team went from like 8th place and then like 3 months later you just kind of see them start to like slowly rise up or just kind of still stay where they are. That'd be interesting. I'm sure I could just go online and figure it out, but I think it'd just be cool to have like my personal screenshots, and that way I could see
Yeah,
it.
enjoy that.
A lot of work for no
I'm not
reason.
going to be doing that.
I could just Google it. Matt, why would you even do that? But yeah, well, so we're almost 50 minutes in here, and I think we're gonna want to do a nip.
Yeah, let's do it.
Call it quits. We both got to be up in 5 hours.
Why, dude? Why?
I mean, it was either this or Ciroc, so.
Throw it out.
Fun fact, we lost a lot. This was in your freezer, and I don't get how you can put it in the freezer and with the cap on and you lose liquid.
Well, if it wasn't fully sealed proper. Like, I mean, the plastic can still be sealed, but if you turn it, if it leaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, could be. Could be underfilled at the manufacturer's end.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Interesting. But here we go. Captain Morgan grapefruit rum.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Oh.
All right. Off to bed. I don't like grapefruit.
No. No, dude. No. That is bad. That's I'm not a fan of that at
No.
all. Nope.
No, I wouldn't have bought that.
I did, because apparently I'm an idiot. But I want to try different stuff. We keep doing like the same stuff over and over again. So I was like, ooh, something new. I'm an idiot.
It's great.
That is terrible. Yeah, there you go. So you want to call us out?
Thanks, everyone, for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description. Please check out our website, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Peace.